All right, welcome. It's MUSOLINI, the Merchant of Success. Hi, it's MUSOLINI, the Merchant of Success. Welcome to this segment of Goal Setting for Success 2.0. Today, I was sharing on Facebook how with goals, I really got to understand the concept of goal setting when I was at the university. I was in my early 20s after meeting my first mentor, Dr. Gerard Seriwaji, God bless his soul since he passed on. And, my first book on personal development was Think Big by Ben Carson. The was a US presidential aspirant at one time, I believe. And what happened was in that moment, before then, I used to just move up and about without any clarity of my life and specific goals. It's when I started setting specific goals that I got a clearer view of my life and I actually started moving faster towards my goals in life. So it's extremely important. All right. Now, these are the 5 segments that I always go through when I'm training, and that is clarity, understanding what it is and why it's important, the mindsets required, the strategies that are useful in turn to ensure the success in this particular topic, the skill sets, and of course, the mastery required. Okay. So let's look at the clarity. In terms of definition, when we say goal setting, it is a purposeful and explicit process that starts with identifying a new objective, skill, or project you want to achieve. Then you make a plan for achieving it and you work to complete it. So in simple, direct, practical, pragmatic terms, that's what goal setting is. And therefore, that's something that you need to be aware of. So you have this particular target, and then you make a plan on how to achieve it. So actually, I like even the word target because then it becomes even much easier. So I'm using one word. So for whatever the target is, and then you plan on how to achieve that specific target. So why goal setting? Why should we think about goal setting, and why should we spend time exploring this particular topic? There are a couple of reasons. Number one, goals allow you to measure your progress, because how will you measure whether you've made it or not if you do not have a bearing to tell or to reference or to compare with a particular target you had set? So it really helps you to know whether you're getting closer or far away. Goals also encourage you to take action, meaning you set this particular goal. Therefore, if you're to declare it as achieved by the end of it, then you have to take some action. So that really pushes you hard. And ultimately, life, a big portion of life is action. And so if you want to take more action in your life, then you need to set more goals. You need to set big goals to move you forward. Also, goals turn our largest goals into manageable steps. Sometimes when you think of this huge goal, but if you follow the steps I'm going to show you, then you chop it down into manageable chunks, then all of a sudden, what was previously a big goal looks very, very manageable and feasible. Goals also guide and align our focus. When I say align our focus, earlier today I was talking about how there are a million, if not a gazillion things you can do. And one of the core reasons I believe is because there are so many things you can do, and yet you have a finite time on planet Earth. And when I say finite time, I mean there's the time I'm talking about. In every instance, you have a finite time. Life in general, there is the time you're born and the time you pass on. When you have a contract, it has the beginning and an end. When you are in class, there's a beginning and an end, just like this particular session. Therefore, you need goals at different junctions in your life to maximize the time you have, because there's nothing like infinite. I mean, there is always a finite amount of time, resources, energy, and therefore you need to focus on a few things. And one of the ways definitely to do that is through goal setting. Now let's look at some statistics about goal setting. This is what we know. According to goal research, people who write down their goals are 20% more successful in accomplishing them than those who did not. So you just need to remind yourself of that and know that just the act of writing goals down boosts your chances for success tremendously. Also, that those who set actionable tasks for their goals and initiate weekly progress reporting to their supportive peers tend to achieve 40% more than those who did not. So those checks in between to see, am I there or am I not there? And, asking someone to see whether you're hitting the goals, whether you're still on the spot, whether you're still in line with what you want to get things done, then that dramatically boosts your chances for success. And we see that it boosts that by 40%, more than those who did not. So that's something for you to take note. Also, according to kathykyle.com, 384 tests have shown that goal setting has a statistically significant effect on behavior. Because think about it, when you set an objective, it influences how you think or how you behave. For example, I noticed that if I have a goal to produce content or to publish content, then that influences me in terms of what I'm going to do. So like earlier today, I had to do a Facebook Live. Why? Because I had set a goal to make sure that every day I post something. So that's a goal I set, therefore it influenced me to behave in a certain way. Therefore, it's true that goals influence your behavior. Therefore, you can consciously use this tool or this idea to make sure that if you are interested in certain behaviors, then one of the quickest and sharpest ways you can effect that is to set specific goals. Cool. So he's asking, why do those who write their goals achieve only 20% more? And I'm saying, hey, it's not only 20% more. That's huge. Just to give you an idea, in the Olympics, for example, those who you'll find that the one, let's compare, say 100 meters. 100 meters, for those who compete at the global stage, number one and number two, the difference is typically microseconds. So you might find that the difference between number one and number, I don't know whether they are 8 or 9 or 7, I don't know what the number is. Whatever the difference is, you might find the difference could be as little as 1 to 5%, not even 5%. It's less than 5% between number 1 and say number 7 or 9 or 10. So, but think about it. You're talking about, say, the 7th fastest person in the world. If I asked you who came number 7 in the previous Olympics, you have no clue. Not even number 4, you have no clue. So when we talk about winning, please, that 20% is huge. In real life, sometimes it is just 0 point something percent makes you better. If you recall in school, sometimes you'd miss a first class by just a 1 percentage point, even 0 point something. I'm sure some of us here have missed the next grade by 0 point something percent. So that's huge, my friend. Do not underrate it. Please elaborate on the goal setting having a significant effect on behavior. Yeah, I gave you what I meant by that, Anne, is that when you set a goal, it pushes you to behave in a certain direction. For example, you set a goal, I'm sure one of your goals is learning. And because one of your goals is learning and growth, that's why you're here. It has influenced your behavior to be seated right here, okay, and not doing something else. That's what I mean. Anne and Jimmy, please confirm if I have answered your questions. All right. Thank you, Susan. Susan is giving us what I was talking about. Susan says, true, I missed my dream course by 0.4 at Makerere. There you go, Jimmy. So that's the point I was making. 20% is huge. Here is someone who's confirming what I was talking about. All right, let's continue to the next segment. Mindset. Let's talk about the mindsets that drive goal setting and achievement. What are those that you really need to pay attention to? There are a couple of mindsets which are important. Number one, you can't achieve what you don't know. A focused life is a life that is set out on purpose. You achieve this through setting goals, knowing exactly what you want, when you want it, and how you're going to go about it. This is where you find focused fellows. That's why I'm sure if I asked all of us here, can you recall someone you would define as focused? You would definitely type someone there, okay? Or at least to know. You know someone. You may not type their name, but at least you know someone. And part of the reason why you consider them focused, which is something very positive, is they set goals. They set goals. So how can there are people we call achievers. Okay, that guy is an achiever. That lady is an achiever. Why? Because they set goals. So you cannot achieve what you don't know. That's why I've never read that book of Alice in the Wonderland, but there's that famous line that's been regurgitated over and over again, where I believe, whether it is the rabbit or someone asking that, he was asking for directions, and I could be paraphrasing here since I've never read the book, but the moral of the story is there. Someone's asking for the direction, and this guy asks, so where are you going? Says, I don't know. Said, all right, then any road will get you there. And the moral of the story is, if you don't know where you're going, then any road, any action, any decision, any behavior will get you there, because wherever you go, there you are. You didn't have a goal anyway. So if you really want to become an achiever, it starts from that perspective of goals. The other mindset, which is very useful, is to say, I'm comfortable with having uncomfortable goals. So your goals should be able to scare you a bit, not to be scared frozen, because if they scare you to the point of freezing, then that's also not healthy. But they should scare you a bit. In other words, you should feel discomfort when you set a goal, and that's okay. That's where growth is. Because it's not just about setting goals for the sake of it. It's also about setting goals in a way that ultimately, by the end of the day, you're a better human being. Like this series, as of this session, I've never done 40 sessions non-stop. This is session 24. I've never done 20, even as we speak, I've never done 24 sessions non-stop. So I'm growing, yay! So just even saying 40, I was like, okay, 40, wow. Yeah. Uncomfortable? Absolutely. It's an uncomfortable goal. But guess what? I am growing from it. I'm learning a lot from it. I'm enjoying myself in the process, and I'm meeting some of you that I wouldn't have otherwise met, whether you are attending live or watching the recording. That's part of it. So I'm not asking you to do what I'm not doing. Was it a bit scary? Definitely. Not so scary to freeze me, otherwise I wouldn't be here. But I'm saying, say, okay, 40 days, non-stop, every single day, Monday to Sunday, no matter what. Hey, and so far, by God's grace, we are moving forward. So that should be part of your mindset. You have to set some goals that are uncomfortable, that will stretch you, because then you want to grow. You want to become a better human being. And once you become a better human being, next time you will even be able to set even bigger goals. The other mindset, this is a mindset I keep preaching in different forms and means. Some of you have heard me say this before, that it's okay if I fail, at least I learned something. Look, you won't achieve all that you set out to achieve. You will achieve some things and you learn from others. But once your mindset is that of either I realize that goal or I learn something, then you move forward. There are some things, for example, during this series that I expected to happen, which have not happened. For example, I expected certain numbers which have not shown up yet. As of this recording, I'm sure some finally they will show up. But guess what? I've learned a lot as to why those numbers are not showing up. And guess what? It is okay. I'm learning and I'm growing. So you have to be comfortable with the idea that something you're aiming for, if it doesn't pan out right, it's not the end of the world. That's something I'm praying for my 7-year-old daughter to learn, and please send her some good thoughts and prayers. For her, she's a perfectionist. She wants something does not pan out exactly the way she envisioned it. That really spoils her day. She will become moody, she'll cry, and I'm talking about up until now. So we are working through it. I spend sometimes time explaining to her that, something doesn't turn out right. Ask yourself, how can I do it better next time? Or what am I learning from this? Because there are people whereby if something does not pan out, it's like the end of the world. And I'm here to propose to you, it's never the end of the world. It's the beginning of a new world. A new world of ideas, a new world of concepts, a new world of views, a new world of different things that you had not imagined before. But guess what? If you had not moved forward, you wouldn't have discovered that new world. So one of my teachers where I learned this concept from, okay, for him, he framed it differently. One of my teachers, that it's neither success or failure, it's feedback. Life is about feedback, meaning when you get what you want, it's not necessarily success. No, it's just about life telling you what, that's the right move you took. And if you don't get what you want, it's not failure. No, life is giving you feedback to say, change strategy. All right? Or something is not right. The world is giving you feedback. So once you start looking at outcomes as feedback, then that's a very, very comfortable mindset to have, and a very healthy one at that. The other mindset I love is it's never too late to set goals. Start where you are with what you have, set out to achieve something specific and make a plan for it. There are people, I have some, some of the mastermind members, mainly they're in their 40s and 50s. And some of them ask, but isn't it too late at my age? And I'm like, what are you talking about? 40 is the new 20. 50 is the new 30. What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm 43 as I'm recording this. But my energy tell me I have energy which is better than some of the 20-year-olds. So what? It's never too late. You're 80, so what? There are people who are setting new goals at the age of 90. I recall one of my favorite clips. It was either Britain Got Talent or something like that, I believe. There was an 80-year-old woman who auditioned, and she gave an amazing dance. I believe it was ballroom dancing. And she said that it was her childhood dream to do ballroom dancing. So at the age of 80, she was on national television and lived her dream. So my dear friend, regardless of what that thing is, it's never too late. It's only in your mind where it's too late. But in reality, in God's eyes, in the world's eyes, it's never too late. It can only be too late in your mind. So liberate your mind. Be free. Be free. It's a new day. Even the Bible says, in the twinkling of an eye, you can transform. Transformation can happen in a twinkling of an eye. So I know there are those things sometimes where I also limit myself of say, okay, now that I'm 40, do I have to do that? And then I have to remind myself, to catch myself and slap myself. Come on, not slapping, but pray about mental and emotional slapping, to wake up. So I'm challenging you to wake up, my friend. I love this work.
That's saying
I'm
you really.
welcoming myself. Why not? Oh, dear Lord. Thank you. All right. Let's talk about enabling strategies for setting and achieving your goals. Strategy number one is the basic strategy, the SMART goals. And when we say SMART goals, again, to refresh our memories, that it should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, or relevant, and then time bound. The balanced goals. Balanced goals is also very important. Your goals should focus on multiple dimensions of life. It doesn't make sense earning money and losing your health and family, as an example. Because I'll give you an example. There was someone was sharing with me a story of a very wealthy person who, spent most of his earlier years when the children were younger making all the monies. And now that the children are older, there's a huge gap. I mean, they failed. They are not failed. They're working on it. They are struggling to connect. So meaning there wasn't proper balance. Therefore, when you're thinking through your goals, look at all the dimensions, spirituality, health, finance, career, fun, contribution, okay? So such that fitness, so that you know that you are working on all dimensions. The other strategy is one that most people do not pay attention to, yet is extremely important. It's called the goal board strategy. So the way you find organizations have boards or board of advisors, so you also need a goal board strategy, or you can call it my dream board strategy. Not the board, a dream board where you paste your images, but you have a board. You have to start thinking about your life the same way you think about, say, an organization or a business. That should be the mindset. And we can borrow these principles from how successful organizations run, and then we adopt them in our lives. So for example, one of the things I do when I'm consulting with people, one of the consulting sessions I offer people is what I call a personal strategic plan. So meaning if you have a strategic plan for an organization, why not have a personal strategic plan? Because we know that's a concept that works in an organization. So you can adopt that concept. And whoever has consulted me on that and we've done a session, they always find it exciting. So in the same way, we can borrow this idea of having a board for an organization, and then you have a board for your personal life. So what you can do is you need to involve at least, I shouldn't say at least, let's say 3 people. And ideally, 2 of them should be senior to you and people of great repute, people you look up to, people you know that they have wisdom that will be very, very useful. And by the way, talking about seniority does also not always mean in terms of age, just to be clear on that. Seniority sometimes can mean someone has a lot of experience and perspective, deep perspective in that aspect that you're aiming at. Because I'll tell you, it's not the number of years you've lived, it's the quality and intensity of the life you're living. Because I'll tell you, I've met some 20-year-olds who think like 60-year-olds. And the reverse is also true sometimes. So when we say senior, age is part of it, but not always the case. It is, does someone have deep perspective? Because I have some clients who are older than me. Some of them even as older than me by 20 years, and yet they consult me in these particular areas where I have depth meaning the area they are consulting me about. For example, I have over 20 years experience, and yet for them, you might find that the experience they have in that perspective, if we were to quantify it, could be, let's say, 5 years. So even though they're advanced in age, and of course for them, they also have an area where they are superior or much senior than me, where I need to consult them. But there is this other area. So when you're thinking about the board, you also need to think about people of different dimensions and expertise, and then they can guide you where you can bounce off ideas, and then they guide you. These are people who will hold you accountable, and they can guide you and keep you focused. The next strategy, of course, is action planning. Attach actions that answer the how bit of the goal. Spend more time here, and if it means reducing the number of goals to increase focus, do it. Let me actually underline that. I'll come back to it. But of course, you need to think about the resources, the people, the time, the money that you need. Because also when you talk about resources, most people, when they think about resources, they think of money. But time is also a resource. How much time will you need? How much concentration will you need? How many people will you need to support you in this particular segment? Now let's talk about the number of goals to increase focus. One of the best pieces of advice I ever received was from one of my teachers who said, look, rather than have, say, 12 goals for the year, think about having 4 big goals in a year. And each quarter, focus on one. Quarter 1, I'm going to focus on this. Quarter 2, I'm going to focus on this. Quarter 3, I'm focused on this. Quarter 4, I will focus on this. Now, that doesn't mean that you eliminate everything else, but where is your focus? Where is your concentration going to be? So if there is one strategy that I would give you, would be that. I remember one of my teachers was talking about the law. This is what they call the law of concentration. And there was an time, I need to remember what the story was. I remember hearing this from Brian Tracy many, many years ago. It should be like over 15 years ago when I heard this, but it stuck in my mind. So there was a military, there was a war going on. So they asked this general and said, okay, so what is your strategy for this war? What is the core strategy that we have to focus on? And he said, the core strategy is kill Darius, kill Darius, kill Darius. So the strategy was, hey, once we eliminate this person, boom, there will be disorganization in the camp and all that, and then we'll win. That's the strategy. So meaning it's not about attacking 12 points or thinking about 12 moving parts. It is, what is that one part? If I focus on it and get it done, it will catapult you to the next level. I'll give you an example. When I was starting out in my career, I started out I declared myself to go full-time as a motivational speaker and coach and all these things. I was 26 years old. My first client was in the mid-30s. So I looked around and I noticed that one of the challenges I had was credibility. And I noticed that, well, if credibility is an issue and I'm young, what are some of the ways in which I could quickly boost my credibility? I said, you know what? Focus on publishing some books. That will give you instant credibility. So by the age of 27, I'd already published my first book. By the age of 29, I had 4 books. Did that give me credibility? Definitely, absolutely. I focused on that and published those books, and that gave me a platform to build from. Now, I'm just sharing from my personal life how I was thinking or how I thought about this, in that you need to think, okay, what do I need to do that will get me to a much higher level faster? What do I need to focus on? So for me, I focused on credibility and also looking for opportunities to go into the media because, again, credibility. So that to me was very useful because in our industry, it's one thing knowing something, it's another thing being credible. So for me, that was very useful. So for you need to think about, and when I talk about what you need to focus on, it might also mean what you need to eliminate, because it's not just about what you're going to do, it's also what you need to stop doing. For example, it could be that you need to, let's just suppose you want to become healthier. Then one of the things, it's not enough to just exercise. It might also mean for you to stop going to the bars. or stopping by that joint where you take a lot of meat. So meaning it's not just about what you're going to do, it's what you need to stop doing, right? That's action planning. Oops. All right. Then the other strategy is what we call the motivational goal strategy. It is important that your goals motivate you. This means that you make sure that they are important to you and that there is value in achieving them. Have a strong why. So yesterday, just to give you perspective, every Tuesday so Tuesdays I run executive communication and the mastermind, that is from 6 to 7. And then Wednesdays I run Succeeding Daily Mastermind, which is about personal and career development. And it's a smaller group where people get personalized attention. So yesterday I was so one of the participants in that mastermind attends these sessions. So meaning the moment I clicked close for this session at 6, I had to open another room to get into another session, which actually ran past we always keep time, but yesterday it was exceptional, it ran longer. And the participant, the mastermind members, I said, okay, I wish I had your energies. I'm wondering how you get all that energy to move for 3 hours nonstop and standing like this. And I remember telling her, I said, look, for me, I believe it is because I'm living on purpose. So when I'm there here talking to you, it's not just a matter of just me sharing wisdom. Have a bigger purpose. A bigger purpose is I am serving God's children. This is my calling. This is why God put me here. I am transforming lives. People are getting better and healthier and more successful and happier. And when that happens, then I'm living my purpose. That gives me energy. So therefore, even if it means to stay all along, and guess what? I finished at about 7:30, then had dinner and all that. Then I had to attend a training. This time I wasn't teaching, but I was attending a training, learning, because I'm learning about digital marketing and all that stuff. So I had to go again from 8 to 10. But all I'm saying is, I will tell you that even when my energies are a bit low, when I see people, I get energy because I'm like, yes, an opportunity to be of service. I am doing God's work. That's my motivation. So you have to look for a goal. You have to work on something that tickles you, that wakes you up, that charges you up. So that's where people are going for Simani Energizer Rock Boom. You are rocking because of the divine energy and motivation and drive. So find that goal, because you can see the fire right now that I'm demonstrating. It's not because I drank something or smoked something. No, I am filled with the desire to be of service to you. So if I'm talking to you, I'm going to talk as if you're truly, fully listening to me. And once you have that, then acting on something doesn't stop you. I mean, I have spent lots of time and energy, have team members behind me to do this work. We've spent a lot of money on this to get this up and running. But you know what? I am excited regardless of the time, of the energy, of the money. I am serving you. And if it is just one person, let me tell you my thought process. If it is just one person of all of you guys attending live or watching this, then it is worth all the time, all the money, and all the energy. Why? Because one transformed life is priceless. One life is priceless. How do I know? A mentor, Gerard Selwaji, invested his life in me. And guess what? I've impacted millions and millions of lives. And guess what? You are also, as you're getting these ideas, the vision I have is you will also go forth and impact lives out there. You will share these ideas with your children, with your friends, with your colleagues at work, with people you're leading, with whoever it is, whoever that person you make happier or better, or if your spirit is a little low and you're uplifted a bit, that is priceless. If you being here means, who knows, you could have been somewhere else that is dangerous, that is costly, yet instead you're here, it's something that is building you up. That's my motivation. So what is your why? So whatever those goals are, if you really get what I've just shared with you, that finding your why will drive you. It will push you. There will be challenges. You're seeing me speaking all this. That doesn't mean I don't have challenges. That doesn't mean that I don't have some slow days or challenging days or question marks or doubts or wonders. And no, but you know what? I have the big why, the big focus, the big picture that is exciting to me. And when I see sometimes people sending in messages, oh, you transformed my life this way. Oh, you helped me do this. Oh, you changed my life this way. Whew, that is priceless. Thank you, Lord. Now, there's also what we call the paper and ink strategy. A goal not written is a wish. Use a basic piece of paper, write your SMART goals down, keep this piece of paper on you. Keep checking it, keep reminding it. Why? Because there are so many distractions around the world. If you don't keep checking in, that's why in your car you have a dashboard. It tells you what the oil engine looks like, the fuel and all. That's your dashboard, your goal card or whatever you're writing, that's your dashboard. If you can't keep it on you, you can keep it on the wall or in the bathroom or something to remind you, because there are so many distractions in this world. So you need to keep that strategy, all right? I mean to keep it in front of you. All right. Florence says that the stronger the why, the easier the how. Yeah, absolutely. I totally get you, and I totally believe in that. I believe it is also the philosopher Nietzsche who can find a strong enough why you can withstand anyhow. The Emily Bagarka is asking, how do you find your big why? So it's really, it has to go back to the purpose. Look for the purpose recording. That was, I believe, like recording number 3 or something. That's where it starts from. So how you find your why is you have to, number one, is to really begins with the purpose. And then number 2 is you need to think about what will this ultimately mean at a bigger picture. What will it mean for your life, for your family, for your career, for the bigger dream that you have in this world? So you need to dig deep. But the easiest one and the quickest one, of course, is purpose. What's your why? Why are you here on planet Earth? Steps to setting and achieving your goals. A couple of steps you need. Number 1, clearly identify what you want to achieve. Now, this might seem basic, but it's not. It's actually a big portion of goal setting. Let me give you an idea. Let me give you an example. So sometimes you find, say, men struggling to find to find a wife. And one of the reasons is they just want a nice, beautiful woman. So, but what does that mean? Oh, you say, I just want a nice woman to live with. But who is this nice woman? So that nice woman, my friend, if we have some single guys still in that space struggling, what I mean by that is you need to identify and clarify both the outer qualities and the inner qualities. By the way, this applies to both men and women, what I'm saying. You have to think about what are the outer qualities? Is it their color, their body language, their behavior, and all that? So what are the inner qualities? Kindness, strength of character, integrity. You know, what are those inner qualities that this person has? So that's what I mean by clearly identifying what you want. But when you just say, I want a nice man, what is a nice man? I just want a nice woman. What is a nice woman? So you have to go in clear, specific detail. That's the first step. And that's, most people drop this or they do not push hard on this. And that's where we drop the ball. Then next is, why is this important to you? Now, someone was asking me about the big why. Now, this is another part that most people drop. You need to generate as many reasons as possible as to why this is important to you. So earlier you heard me speak a lot with a lot of passion about this, or this work I do, it has taken me a lot of time to reflect, to think about this. It's taken me more than 20 years to reach that level. So, and the why is something you have to keep digging deeper. Someone was asking about how do you find your, so even when you find your purpose, you have to keep reflecting on it, getting insights, seeking divine wisdom, and such that you find your why. And your why is usually not just one thing. There's usually a big block and then some smaller blocks below it. So, for example, you had me say, it is transforming lives. That's the big why. But then there are other blocks under that drive me. I'm impacting people's lives, or it's a calling. Okay, I'm serving God's children. So there are all these reasons that I have that fire me up. So in the same way, when you have a goal, look for all these bits and pieces to justify why you're going after that thing. Now, when you're talking about the why, it's usually two ends. It is what you're going to avoid and what you're going to get. So, for example, it could mean, like for me, it is to avoid the regret that I did not live God's purpose. It's to avoid the regret that my life didn't have meaning. The benefit, or the other side of what I'm getting, is that I have a sense of fulfillment. I'm living according to my purpose. I'm transforming lives. The world is a better place. Leaving a legacy. So when you're thinking about the why of any goal, you need to think about what it will give you and what it will enable you to avoid. So, and list as many as possible, especially what you're going to get. Because the more reasons you have, just like one of us put it, if you have a strong enough why, the how will be much easier. I'll tell you, I've never watched the clip, but there are many people have confirmed seeing that clip, whereby there was a woman who successfully lifted a vehicle to save her child. Now, any mother listening to this will say, yeah, I will find a way. You see, once you have enough why, it gives you priceless. The woman is saving a priceless life. What I'm saying is, it's not true if a woman can save it. All I'm telling you is this should give you an idea of the power of the why. If you have a strong enough why, the how will appear. The how will be much, much easier. Please spend a lot of time on the why, because I'll tell you, sometimes you'll find blockages, you'll find hurdles, but if your why is strong enough, you will find the way. But if your why is weakish, at the immediate obstacle, I'm out of this. There are people who get into this industry of ours like I'm in. By the way, it is very ruthless. You ask Godfrey, who is an HR practitioner, it's very ruthless because for us in our work, you never get a second chance. You either deliver or you don't. So you have only one chance, one shot. So some people, those who go in without a strong enough why, after the first obstacle, they run away. Because by the way, just a hint, if you're being driven to get into this just to make the money, no, you won't cut it. I can guarantee you of that. I guarantee you of that. But if you feel it is your calling and it's your purpose and all this, then you can stand those challenges. So it has to be. What are the dangers if you don't achieve? That's related to the why that I was talking about. So meaning you look at the benefits and what are the costs if you don't achieve the goals. Next, make it smart and write it down. Please, the INC strategy, remember, this is where you apply the INC strategy. You write your goals down. I was pleasantly surprised. It was about 5 years ago. And I had a journal, it was a red journal. And there are some goals I had written there like 10 years prior. And it's like I'd achieved 80 to 90% of the goals. I showed it to my wife and I was like, yeah, wow. So please do not underrate the idea of writing things down. So if there is magic, No, that it's the mind-body connection, or I believe the spirit-mind-body connection comes through when you're writing. So please do not underrate. One of the tasks I would like to give you tonight is, okay, depending on the time you're watching this recording for some of us, is look through some of your journals. You might be pleasantly surprised at realizing, say, oh wow, I had this other goal and here it is. I had this other, oh, here it is. You'll be amazingly surprised. So please write it down, make it as specific as possible. Now, when we say specific, the simplest one, for example, is rather than have more money, what is that more money for you? Specific numbers. Okay. If it's weight, instead of saying I want to lose some weight, no, say I want to achieve this ideal weight of 65 kgs. That's what we mean by this particular date. That's being the time-bound aspect. And the realistic part, by the way, just to give you an idea, so you need to think so you need to hold the big dream, but one of the obstacles, one of the self-created obstacles I've created in my life for looking back is I would set these humongous goals when I was literally like nowhere. I remember like, 20 years ago. Like 20 years ago, I went into this workshop and you don't want to know what, okay, I can give you a hint. I was setting goals like, having this yacht on, a $5 million, but meanwhile, I had $20 on my account. What's that? So it's okay to hold those dreams, but then you can think in phases. So if I had thought of, okay, how about this year or this month, let me see how I can figure out how to get $500. Because I have $20. So let me figure out how to get $500 or something like that. You have $20. Talking of millions of dollars. Think in 1 year, really? Is it possible? Yes, it is very possible, but that is extremely rare. Again, it is again a balance between dreaming big and being pragmatic. I believe and of course, as I get older, I'm getting wiser in that aspect. So yes, anything is achievable. It's true. And at the same time, you also need to think in terms of phases. For example, if okay, I'm sure you've gotten the point, so let me not over deliberate on that. Next is the action plan. You have to have a plan because it's not enough just to dream of something, to set a goal over something. You have to have a plan. How are you going to get there? Write it down, write the steps down. Also chunk down the elephant by setting smaller milestones. So that's why you notice in this presentation, I set the 5 milestones that I have. I'm not just thinking about the whole presentation. It has 5 milestones. So you need to think through, okay, say, okay, what are my milestones? All right, I want to get a PhD. All right, cool. If it's a PhD, let me first make sure that I succeed in my high school. All right, good. So I want to get a PhD. Okay, now next step. All right, in the next 3-4 years, let me finish my bachelor's. All right, good. In the next, then, say in the next 5 years, I want to make sure that I have both my bachelor's and master's. All right. So you take it step by step. You chunk it down. So okay, now those are the milestones. Now, what is the milestone I'm focusing on now? Next is, of course, you need to eliminate distractions and instill discipline. This is very crucial. I keep preaching about this because the truth of the matter is there are so many opportunities out there. One of the areas that I know I've not succeeded at the level that I should have is internet marketing. And one of my blockages has been that idea of being drawn into so many directions. Because I'm very positive, so I find that if I see a certain strategy, I'm like, oh, that should work. So as I'm starting it, I'm like, oh, that other strategy should also work. Then I run it. So in the end, it becomes destructive. So when I talk about eliminating distraction, it's you deciding and having a discipline, for example, okay, these are the 1 or 2 things I'm going to focus on until they succeed. That's the level of discipline I'm talking about. So discipline means if you want to go back to go to your ideal weight, look through it's not about you chasing 10 different strategies on how to achieve your ideal weight. Find a few, 2 or 3 actions that you need to take consistently, day in, day out, and then you'll get there. By the way, sometimes we complicate things, but if we go back to the idea of the ideal weight, it's really very simple. Take less calories, expend more calories. Simple strategy, okay? Lower calories in, more calories out that you're spending. Then you automatically find yourself achieving your ideal weight. So, but it's about also finding that discipline, finding a few things and you focus on them. Then finally is you have to keep going. I just need to remember the name of the guy. It was, but I liked what he said. I hope I will remember the name. But this is what he said. I remember exactly what he said. He said, this is how he framed it, that the only way for you to fail is to stop. Please write that one down. The only way for you to fail is to stop. And what he was impressing upon us is just keep going. Whatever that goal is, my friend. There will be detours, there will be hills, there will be valleys. Just keep going. If you believe, you're on the right path. Unless you discover that you're on the wrong path, then it's okay to take a detour or move on to something else. But if you're on the right path, please, for goodness sake, keep going. Do not give up. There will be people who are thinking that what you're thinking is crazy, but guess what? Be careful for what you're listening to also, because they're on a different path. So they cannot process what you are up to. They cannot understand it. When I was starting out, my guardian said, why don't you get a real job? Because he could not understand that I was here, pushing myself to become motivational, to be self-employed and all that. And yet I could not raise, by then the house was 100,000 Uganda shillings, which was possibly about $30 then. And I could not, I was borrowing $15 from him. So he could not understand. Why don't you get a real job? And it was out of good intentions. He had good intentions for me. But I'm here to tell you that intentions are not enough. What's your vision? You have to close your mind against all doubts, against whatever limitations that they're there. Say, okay, this is the thing. If you believe you're on the right path, you have to keep going. Because I'm sharing some of my personal struggles and challenges and wins, such that you understand that these are things that I'm going through myself. These are doubts I had to go through myself when I was starting out, for example. And there are some challenges I have now, of course, at a higher level now, at a much higher level now. So you have to keep going, my friend. There will be doubts, there will be question marks, but please note, it is you and your creator. Is it the right path? If it's the right path and you've confirmed, you've gotten a green light from your creator to say, go, then go. The answers will come, the resources will come, the right people will come, the right teachers will come. Guess what? God brought me here now at this particular moment because you needed me now to hear something, either from me or someone else who's going to say something, or some of the things you had me quote from other people. That's your message. Some of us, you may get one idea, you may get 2 ideas. That's it. That's how life works. You learn things at the time when you need them, based on what you may need in that moment, on the journey that you are on. Great. Susan is asking, shouldn't goals be set like short term, medium term, then long term? Then your yacht could be under the very long term. Yes, I hear you, Susan. And in this case, when I look back to where I was 20 years ago and the yacht, I'm not sure whether it was even in the long term. It was in a very, 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 very long term. Yeah, from that perspective, from your thought process, yes, you're right. And again, short term, medium term, and long term is relative. There are those who think short term is 1 year, mid term is 3 to 5 years, long term is 5 to 10 years. Now, did I have by then, though, as I'm looking back, I'm not sure whether I could even conceptualize the idea of a yacht 20 years down the road. But as I'm thinking about it, yes, why not? Possibly if I had followed that plan, that methodology of short-term, medium-term, and long-term, yeah, why not? So thanks a lot for that insight. Okay, so green light is keen for seeing my goals might take away. Green light from the creator. Yes, green light from the creator. Let's talk about the mastery. In terms of mastery, so for now, let's look at a short-term goal. And when I say short-term goal, let's think of 1 to 3 years. Ideally, let's think of one year. Okay. Think of 1 year. And I would like you to, not really, I would like, the task before you is, once you have that one goal, establish why it's important to you. Because it's better if you can practice with one goal, it's much easier. Then make it SMART and develop an action plan. When we say SMART, of course, I told you what SMART stands for: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And then specify the actions that you intend to work on. So, okay, if I'm to achieve this thing, then these are the steps I need to take. So like this class, there are certain steps I had to take, like create a website, create copy, get an autoresponder, make sure I have, the right hosting and the Zoom, where will I put the videos? All these are pieces to make something like this tangible. Okay. Number 3, who will keep you accountable? Get someone who can be tough on you. Not negative, positively tough. The best person, by the way, would be a coach or mentor, and you're listening to one here. And I will tell you, it's one of the best pieces of investment you can ever make. And again, find one that resonates with you. I may not be that person, but find one who, if you feel that you resonate with how I think and how I'm being, welcome aboard. If you are thinking of someone else, or you find someone else that you've been considering all this time, please call them right away and consider investing in that work. Because I have coaches myself for this specific reason. So I'm not asking you to do what I'm not doing. I have coaches, not one, coaches. So this is something that if you did and practice with one goal and you saw yourself progressing, then you'll find yourself automatically engaging with other goals. What did you find most useful in this presentation? And secondly, how are you going to implement the lessons moving forward in your life and career / business? So that's what you're going to discuss and reflect upon, all right? So then this is how do you eliminate distractions, something I need more light on with, yeah. So again, I highly recommend you check out the time management program. It's under the recordings. And the one quick tip I'll give you is look through your life and ask yourself, what are the most destructive things and how do I eliminate them? So it could be social media. It could be that you allow, for example, your people to call you very late in the night. And that's something you need to find a way to eliminate or manage. So again, I would highly recommend you check out the time management with more detail. So I like this other question around mentors. Said in line with coaches and mentors, sometimes we are inspired by different people. How do I hack it then? So what you do, what I would encourage you to do, Yvonne, is go online, talk to different, not talk to the, look at the different thought processes of people or these coaches or mentors. So I'm sure they have, at least they are somewhere online, whether they have a website or a blog or social media accounts. Then see how does this resonate with you, or what? Now, it looks like your question is sometimes there are many different possibilities. So what I would do is you think to yourself, okay, which area do I need the most help in, and who seems to be very strong in that area. So it could be, for example, it's wellness. Then you drift someone who is most focused on wellness. So it could be wealth. Then you can drift towards someone who is most focused on wealth. It could be communications. Then you can drift someone who is more focused on communications. So yes, you will find that you are attracted to different people, but my question also is, what do you feel you need right now in this moment? What do you need the most? Then start with that. Because also some coach, it's not like you're stuck with one person for life, but there has to be that core need right now in your life. Then focus on that person. Please let me know, Denise, if I've answered your question. Viola. Okay, so Viola asked, what is an example of a SMART goal? Okay, so again, just to be specific here. So we're saying SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, or realistic, time bound. So if you said, my goal is to save $1,000 in the next, it could be 12 months, okay, by 17th August, not 17th August, by 17th December 2021. So is it specific? Yes. Is it measurable? Yes. Now, is it achievable? Well, it depends. Of course, so you look for a number that is measurable to you. Is it realistic? Well, I'm assuming that it is this time band, definitely. So that's an example of a SMART goal. One which is not SMART is, I want to save more money before the end of this year. That's not SMART. It's not measurable. It's not specific. Okay. Please, Viola, let me know if I've answered you. Denise, coming to you for communication skills and confidence building. Sure, you have. Thank you. All right, great. Denise, and I would please feel free to share your okay, I'm sure you saw my numbers, and you're welcome to share your number with some of the Team Success Africa members, and then they can reach out to you. Okay.